everyone. We are here and back with the amazing webinar of Pitch Matter powered by Maxtron. We host this webinar every first and third Thursday to bring some amazing tokenization experts, projects, and entrepreneurs in front of you. I am Girish, and we have an amazing host, Hugh, with us, uh, with our speaker, which I will introduce in a while. So I come from a tech background from IIT, built few companies, been around the world, Silicon Valley, Dubai, and several other places. And now, I was so excited with so many amazing things going around in Web3 tokenization space. And now I bring it together in front of you with a great speaker we have today. And we have you, who will be also hosting us. He's a serial entrepreneur with an expert of alternative asset class investor and co-founder of Northwind Project Maritime Incubator, a precious metal trading group within a global DAO consortium, and advisory partner to multiple token funds with Maxtron in AI, renewable energy, gold, and precious metal mines and innovation projects. So I would love to show you a quick glimpse of Web3 Arena, where we are coming up in Dubai Pitch Expo in Web3 Arena at Dubai Expo City next year in April. So let's take you through a quick glimpse of it.
Dubai 2026. The future of blockchain, crypto, and digital innovation is about to ignite. Welcome to the Web3 Arena at Pitch Expo, powered by Maxtron Innovations, where ideas become reality and the world to amplify your presence across the web. Step into the NFT art gallery, where digital creativity meets reality. Experience stunning collections, interact with holographic art, and immerse yourself in the pulse of the Web3 culture. Feel the adrenaline in our crypto trading esports. Compete to double your virtual capital, test your skills under pressure, and prove you have what it takes in the ultimate gamified finance showdown. Unwind and electrify your senses with our Bored Ape and Nakamigo DJ nights. Navigate the complex world of Web3 safely. Our legal and compliance pavilion offers expert guidance on RWA. The Web3 Arena at Pitch Expo 2026 year of digital experiences unfolds. Be a founder, an investor, a sponsor, a speaker, and be part of history. Join us in Dubai, April 23rd to 24th, 2000.
Wonderful. I hope you loved the amazing Web3 Arena, which is coming up. So now we are doing great efforts, and our team is doing great, like going around and putting this event together. So we have a golf day at Dubai Hills, where all the private investors will come. Then we have a private dinner at Address Skyview, and a 2-day Web3 Arena at Pitch Expo at the Dubai Expo City. So please go and register now to get a free booth if you are one of the top projects and founders among all the selected ones. Coming back to our amazing speaker, the most amazing speaker till now, which as per to me, because he's the one who is tokenizing gold mines. And I'm so excited. I always wanted to talk about it and bring him in front of all of you. So he is Douglas Yates, and he is a cross-disciplinary strategist with deep expertise in financial structuring, corporate governance, and blockchain-based innovations. He has advised on equity placements, tokenized asset models, and digital infrastructure build, always with an emphasis on compliance, scalability, and investor value. Doug brings Wall Street discipline and Silicon Valley speed, making him a go-to operator when the stakes are high and the path is complex. With a rare ability to align legal, financial, and technical frameworks, Doug supports ventures from idea to execution. His work includes structuring financial offerings and digital private placements, architecting liability frameworks from token-backed SPVs, designing secure workflows, automation from business processes, advising public companies boards on governance and regulatory compliance. So let's get started. Welcome, Doug. Very excited to have you Today, he will break down big plans and recent developments on Ion Digital, driving the digital assets of future in tokenization, digital banking, and cutting edge fintech infrastructure. Ion Digital is now uniquely positioned to capture the market transformation, and its proprietary platform combines next generation Web3 technologies with proven financial application, bridging the traditional and decentralized finance with unmatched speed and efficiency. Telling you a little bit more about IONS, their approach emphasizes transparency, scalability, regulatory compliance, and a resilient technology stack with support from industry leading partners such as Chainlink, Intruxy, Data Mesh, Space and Time, Fireblocks, and Maxtron Innovations. Ion is building secure enterprise grade solution that sets new standards in digital finance. So with that said, Doug, could you give us your thoughts on what new initiatives you are working on with Ion and role you play within the Ion ecosystem? Please, Doug, all ears to you.
Thank you, Girish. I really appreciate it. I'm really honored to be on your podcast here. It's a great opportunity. You guys are great. Been working with you guys for a while now, and I really enjoy every time we spend together and takes the next step in this digital generation. And yet, Ion Digital, I like to, I grew up in Silicon Valley. I started my first company when I was 15 years old in Silicon Valley, and I'm in my early 60s now. But I kind of likened it to what like Apple Computer was back in the day, and that's what Ion Digital is to the digital world this day. And the CEO and founder of Ion Digital Corp is a gentleman named Carlos Montoya, who has a strong banking background, and I kind of see him as like the Steve Jobs of the digitization era. And I'm kind of like the Steve Wozniak, the guy behind the scenes that's getting everything done, except for the hair. My hair's a little bit nicer than Steve's, but other Steve Wozniak's. So other than that, that's kind of how I like to introduce new people to Ion Digital. We do have a short video I'd like to play right now, and it kind of gives an introduction, and then I'll come in and dive in a little deeper.
Sure, let's get the video on.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unlocking some serious buried treasure, but not in the way you think.
So what if you could use gold without ever actually digging it up? Sounds kind of wild, right?
Well, this idea is called virtual mining. It basically turns gold still in the ground into active digital assets.
See, the real problem is that a ton of the world's wealth is just stuck, locked away and unusable.
And when you compare it to the old way, wow, virtual mining is way cheaper, faster, and cleaner.
So who's making this happen? A company called Ion Digital. They've built the entire platform to do it.
This quote really says it all. It's like going from the Flintstones to the Jetsons almost overnight. Okay, so how's it work? It's a three-step process. First, verify the asset, then digitize it, and finally, monetize. And they've got the credibility to back it up. Ion has a whole laundry list of industry firsts.
The proof is in the pudding. We're talking over $30 million in assets already converted.
And they're not doing this alone. They've partnered with the biggest names in Web3 to keep everything secure.
And this is why it's such a huge deal. Even the heavy hitters at Goldman Sachs get.
It's not just cool tech either. The business model is just flat out more profitable. Think about it. Unlocking all this trapped value can pump cash into markets that desperately need it.
So it all leaves you wondering, if anything physical can become digital, what does it even mean to own something anymore?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Google for helping out with that.
Amazing.
With that video. Was you saying something, Girish?
No, that was a great video, and yeah, I know you made it from AI.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I love AI. In fact, Ion, because of my IT background, we're bringing a lot of AI techniques and stuff. I'll get into it a little bit later with the operations and workflow in the operations of Ion. But Ion really started from a banking point of view. It's a little bit different than other crypto kind of companies or digital companies. Carlos, he's actually, the story is very interesting. I'll give a short synopsis, and when he comes on, he can tell it a lot better. But he was basically driving to college and I think it was Notre Dame, and his car broke down in Chicago, and he's still in Chicago. And so he basically went to school there and started working at a bank, helping with loans and doing repos and stuff like that. And he worked his way up through after college and became the CEO of that bank. And he took it from several hundred million in deposits and management up to a few billion. And one of the things, as he's coming up through the ranks in the bank, he was working with a lot of mining companies because it was really tough back then to get loans and such for mining operations. And so he was able to get some loans done. And then when the digital age started happening, he really said what he was doing there was a perfect crossover to bring banks into the digital age. And that's kind of what one of the core functions of Ion Digital is to bridge that gap between traditional financial operations and moving into the digital world. And he spent many, many years and millions of dollars getting it to this point, which is a fully operational. That everything I'm telling you here today is not something that's in the future. It's stuff that's working right now. They have great future plans, but the stuff that's working right now is what Ions is one of the first that's really took real world assets, digitized them, and put them into effect in the financial sectors. And so there's the business plan of Ion. It kind of has two parts to it. The first part is outlined in the video, where Ion goes out there and searches for actual mines. And Ion right now is just concentrating on gold, but it could digitize all the real world assets and in-ground assets and there's a patent and stuff, and we'll go over that a little bit later. So brings those mines, and it has a very rigorous onboarding process. And you can kind of think about it is if somebody's buying a shopping center and they want to go to the bank and get a loan, and all the due diligence that a bank will do, search the title and make sure there's nothing, there's no liens against it, and make sure the owners are really the owners, and all that due diligence that banks do to do multi-million-dollar loans for like shopping centers or large commercial buildings. With Ion does the exact same thing for these mining operations and these claims that has these great precious metals. They call it in situ, which is in the ground assets. And the same onboarding process is very rigorous. It's a 40-step process. And at the end of that process, all the data that's gathered, all the documents and stuff, are all gathered and digitized and actually put in the blockchain, because one of the credos of Ion Digital is transparency and letting people be able to see behind the curtain that the asset that we say is there is really there. And so this 40-step onboarding digitization process, it ends with actually a lien going on the claim, which basically locks it down that legally nobody can mess with that claim. And the geological reports are recorded and put up into the blockchain and visible to the people that have a wallet with the Ion Digital asset into it, and so they can see all this stuff. It really gives credibility to the whole situation, and it comes from a traditional banking background. When Carlos was creating this, it took about 6 to 7 years to get us to the point that we are now. And he was, in the crypto world, he was kind of the leper because he was a banker. And in the banking world, he's kind of they didn't like the crypto back in the day. And so he went through that whole stuff, and everybody back in the day would say, hey, why don't you just do an ICO and you can raise billions and become a billionaire? And Carlos kind of said, no, I'm going to go through and make sure this is a compliant, before compliance was even a subject like what we're talking to now in this day and age. And it meets regulatory guardrails and such, and built this product. It really took the effort, took the time to get it to where it is now. And there's Ion has a very strong technical platform with its technical partners, and and it's compliant and regulatory into the financial regulatory industry. Back in when they were developing in this, they got a no determination letter from the SEC, which back in the day was pretty powerful. Hardly anybody got that. Basically, they reviewed it and said, yeah, we don't see anything wrong with this. The SEC never blesses anything, but they just said, yeah, okay, this looks okay. and I had a great law firm do a legal opinion letter on the whole structure. So that whole process, that whole onboarding process, is built to give strength behind the actual digital asset. So when people own or have this digital asset, they know that what's behind it is really behind it. And another key feature is, bankers always like to hedge their bets. And so ION does not digitize 100% of what the geological reports say that's in the ground. They only digitize 20%. So they could be 80% wrong and still be at the money if anything happens. Because, when you actually go and mine it and process it, there's always things that come up. There's additional costs or lower costs, and that's all covered in that 80%. And that's a good ratio that a lot of financial institutions are very comfortable with. So they're able to accept this digital asset. So once the digital asset is created, what ION does with it is it puts it into ION's Treasury. And the digital asset has the symbol is ion.au. That's the actual name of the digital asset that ION has. And they have built this treasury that now that ION Digital Corp manages. And Carlos uses his banking operations and background to hypothecate that treasury and to make that treasury earn, rep bonds around it, put it up as backing for projects and all the stuff that bankers do to generate income off of the assets they control. And then that money that's generated, the income that's generated, is poured back into the company and to get more mines. And that's kind of the wheel flow, the financial wheel flow of ION. So I'll take a little breath there. So we can, thanks for showing the slides too. And
Yeah.
back to you, Girish.
Yeah, that's amazing, Doug. That was a great introduction to ION's inception and plans ahead. And we would like to know, understand more that ION's industry position is the first digital asset-backed security token to leverage gold's new tier 1 classification under Basel III banking regulations. And something I would like to tell to the viewers also, that gold has now gone from a tier 3 category to a tier 1 HQLA asset class, high quality liquid asset. And ION Digital Corp is an industry leader that specializes in providing top-notch, secure, innovative digital and securitization solution for a wide range of assets. ION's platform is powered by a zero trust hybrid blockchain architecture that leverages state-of-the-art smart contract and AI technologies to create asset-backed digital securities. And what's more is ION's award-winning platform that can digitize ownership records, make it possible for a variety of multiple asset classes to leverage blockchain technology to deliver liquidity for their operations. And with ION's platform, businesses can soon securitize precious metals, minerals, and a variety of illiquid fixed assets. ION's strength is generating revenue through its licensing of its intellectual property portfolio and transaction fees. All that said, Doug, could you give us some example of other pioneering and classifications that separates ion.au from other gold-backed digital assets and the reason why you believe that ION truly stands alone in the new digital gold-backed landscape?
Yeah, thank you, Girish. And you make some great points there. I mean, I love the way that you presented that. There's a couple things that you brought up that I want to highlight and find interesting, and I forgot to say at the previous segment. The second part of the business that ION has is what you said in the introduction there, is licensing of its platform. It has a fully operational platform. Like I said at the beginning, that what I'm talking about is stuff that's implemented right now using the chain link platforms and the partners with Instructi, who's the IT partner that ION has. Got a great company right on the leading edge of digital asset technology and such. And licensing that out to other financial institutions and also mining institutions is another part of the revenue stream of ION on Digital. And you said award-winning in there, and there's a hackathon a couple years ago that Chainlink sponsored, and ION was presented there, the platform through Instructi, and they basically walked away as in their category as the winner that hackathon. Nobody could hack it, and the speed and the throughput that the processing power was at the top tier of everybody that was at the event. So that's a little notch in Ion's and belt that's really, really good. Ion's is a publicly traded company. It's traded on the OTC QB board right now, and well, look for announcements of some exciting developments that are coming up over these next few weeks. And you can go up to iondigital.com, and a lot of stuff I'm saying here is there, and you can look at the press releases and all that stuff, iondigital.com. And Ion's one of the first publicly traded companies that has digital assets on its audited balance sheets, and it was a huge Herculean effort to get this done, because auditors are kind of moving out of the traditional finance publicly traded auditors that looked at publicly traded companies, and we're moving into the digital stuff. So there's a lot of education that has to happen, and just going back and forth and showing, and like Girish said earlier, Ion is 100% compliant with Basel 3 and all that compliance with the accounting point of view. Ion AU, the digital asset, is classified as an asset-backed security, which means the assets in the ground, those in that in-ground gold, and then it actually is a security token. In which gives it really strength, and it allows it to be put on the balance sheet. So, my point that I started with, and it's been audited by two separate auditing firms. The 10Ks that are out there. You can go up to Eggers and look at all this stuff. Everything that I'm saying is validated through that, and so it's booked on its balance sheet right now. And there's some great improvements that they're working on right now into the first quarter of next year. It was booked at the price of gold that was several years ago, and gold's went way up since then. So the value has increased, and that value should be reflected in the next filings and the next audit report. And then Ion is also working to move to a mark-to-method accounting procedures, which a lot of the mining companies use, which means they book the gold that they hold on their P&L, and as gold price goes up, they can book that on the income side of things, and if gold price goes down, they could book it as on the loss of the P&L, and this just gives better visibility, which is one of the and transparency to the books of Ion and the books of mining companies where they do this. So that's another first, and just the whole technology stack with the chain link implementation is something that is unique to the Ion operations. It's nobody's put together the stack that Ion has, and it got it working. And another great thing that Ion has done is it's taken the Treasury that I spoke about earlier, and it's tested out all the aspects of wrapping a bond around it, put it up as selling the actual token at face value of gold. It's another thing is it's a first for Ion. It's pegged to the London price of gold, the spot price or the AM price, and so that's what's being booked on the P&L and the balance sheets and stuff. And so that's a couple of the highlighted first of what Ion does through a publicly traded entity, which is great, and with the audited books and all that stuff. So I'll throw it back to you, Girish.
Amazing. So there's one more thing I would like to inform the audience. Like, there's a JP Morgan coin, and would love to see how it's the first to launch a legally compliant gold-backed security coin. So Doug, as Jamie Dimons, CEO of JP Morgan, once said, if you look at the banking business over many years, it's always been a huge user of technology. This has been going on my whole life, that people have been adding technology, digitizing services. So that said, can you share your thoughts on how JP Morgan has now jumped into the Web3 lane and recently launched its own JPMD gold asset-backed token? And how does it compare to Ion.au's gold asset-backed token?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great point. JP Morgan is really good at recognizing what the future is, and jumping on board and bringing this digital future into fruition like Ion did. And I really believe that I was a pioneer for this, and a lot of people are kind of taking the techniques of ION and implementing them themselves, like JP Morgan. JP Morgan's token is kind of a more of a retail token, and I kind of classify the ION AU, the ION Digital's token, as more of an institutional token. And what kind of sets ION apart is basically it's ION's, they use position as an institutional asset that is it's held closely in a treasury, and using the treasury to generate growth for ION. And then the licensing of the technology of doing this to allow other banks to do the same thing, and the other banks can use the ION's technology to put real world assets on their balance sheets, and then strengthen their balance sheets and stuff. So that's what sets apart a little bit different from the JP Morgan. They're more of a retail token. Now ION is using the treasury to back other opportunities out there, and we'll get into that a little bit later, to where they use the treasury to back other stable coins or other retail tokens.
Got it. Understood. That was a great explanation, Doug. So yeah, would love to now I would like to transition into the exciting topic of how ION is the one of the pioneer in the industry of virtual gold mining, and how it uses tokenization to bring value to in situ gold reserves in the ground. That said, it's unmined gold within the mines. Traditional mining ecosystem requires junior mining companies or gold miners that own lands and have gold reserves to typically go and get very large interest loans from banks or private investments that possibly end up giving away a majority of their equity, so that they can raise liquidity to put the gold out off the ground and then distribute that gold through the marketplace, which can be very costly. But with virtual mining, it has become like much better gross margin than traditional mining, and virtual mining is much more sustainable with no environmental impact to the planet. That said, Doug, can you elaborate to our audience on the pros and cons of this process, and how it makes ION such a powerhouse in the patents that it holds on this process?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's that onboarding process. And if you could go to that onboarding slide and show that when I'm talking about that would be great. This process was very specifically designed to show that the provenance behind this digital asset is really there. And there's a like a 72-page agreement, this asset digitization agreement, that really locks down the asset that's in the ground, and that makes sure that it's there. The geological reports are there, and so this whole onboarding process supports this whole the whole goal of providing a digital asset that financial institutions, banks, and such will love to put on their balance sheet. And they know that what it says is behind it is really behind it for many reasons. That the onboarding process took care of it. Can you go to the onboarding slide? I think it's slide 7. It says onboarding on. Okay, yeah, that's our ecosystem with the digitization as such, and then I think one more slide. I appreciate it. It's the one that titled. Okay, I'll keep going. Anyway, so this onboarding process was very well thought out to promote the evidence behind the scenes that supports that digital asset, to make sure people know when you said that digital asset is representative of an ounce of gold in the ground, that there really is an ounce of gold in the ground. And it's actually, in the ION's point of view, it's actually backed by 5 ounces of gold in the ground, because of ION only digitizes 20% of the mines that are out there. So it's a very important process. Anybody can go up to a website and they can tokenize anything. And they could even, there's these reports called 43101s that are geologic reports. And you got to be careful there. You got to make sure that it's a reputable geological firm and actually do drilling to support that. And all that stuff happens on this onboarding process that ION does to really give a strong evidence, almost like preparing for a court case. That evidence that what's in the ground, what they say is in the ground, is really there. And then we also hedge the bet by only digitizing 20% of that. So it just adds institutional strength behind this digital asset, which is the whole goal of this onboarding process. And then now once this digital asset is created, be able to do something with it. And that's the special sauce of Ion also, is taking Ion's treasury and be able to generate revenue off of that treasury. So I'll throw it back to you, Girish.
Wow, that was an amazing slide and explanation. I think it's clearing. I think I can see a lot of gold mines and mines being tokenized around the world after this webinar, and yeah. So Doug, as you may know, we are entering a new economic paradigm shift where access to important minerals and precious metals is fast becoming a necessity of industrial supply chain advantage, financial stability, and geopolitical power. But success in this new economy will not just be successful on in-ground extraction alone. With Ion's patented technology, can you explain more about Ion's gold mine acquisition criteria and rigorous due diligence process that you follow?
Yeah, it's there it is right there. It's a it's designed by a banker for bankers, like I said earlier, to really give credence to the digital asset. And it's a very rigorous process. It used to actually take several months to get through it. And some great advances that Ion did is implementing AI engines and agents and such to be able to speed that up. A lot of the research and the data gathering is AI is really assisted on that. And then there's a full claims committee that's internal to, actually, I'm the chairman of that committee there inside Ion, that reviews all this and then actually works up an offer to either acquire a mine or do a joint venture with the mine and get that asset digitization agreement signed and locked down, and locks down the mine for 10 years. So we're basically the owner of the mine, whether it's Ion or another entity or person, they can't do anything with that mine because there's a lien on it. It's a UCC1 lien on it, and if the real estate is owned, then there's actually a mortgage lien on that. So if it's a BLM claim, that it's a UCC lien. If it's patented land, which is owned land that the claims have, there's a mortgage and a UCC lien on that. So it liens the assets in the ground, and then there's monitor and auditing that ongoing that happens to make sure that nothing is being done with this mine that's not been approved. So it really locks it down that asset's there. And the best vault for gold is the earth. It's really hard to steal gold out of the earth without costing a lot of money and a lot of effort. Even if you have above ground gold, like, Dory bars or Hallmark bars, and you put them in a vault, vaults can be broken into and taken. So, and there's cost to all that stuff. And then Girish, you brought up a good point earlier about the environmental aspects of it is, these a lot of these strip mines just destroy the land. And that's, with digitization of it, we're able to use that asset and use it as a backing for other business activities throughout the world, and also keep that asset in the best vault ever, which is the earth.
Understood. Amazing. I think that's a very nice process, and it's one of the first, one of its kind process, I think, which you have built over the time. And yeah, that's great. So coming to one of the last question of the webinar before we take some questions from the audience, could you close out our presentation by telling us what's next for Ion and any big initiatives going forward into the end of 2025 and into big things coming in 2026 for Ion Digital?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of the preparation work was done these years, 2023 to 2024. And then even before that, a lot of the design of the technical stuff was done before Carlos actually acquired the entity that holds the patents and all that kind of stuff, and which became Ion Digital Corp. And so before 2025, that it was all prep work and foundational work done. And the goal of 2025 was to get into full operations and then start generating revenue. So digitizing the gold, and then getting in the treasury, creating these ion.au digital assets in the treasury, and then using that treasury to go and generate income. And that's happened. Ion's reached its goals. It's great. If you look, they just filed their Q3 10Q. If you can go look at it, and it's the first time that revenue was generated off of the Treasury in there, and they backed. One of the things is backing other projects. So there's two major projects that's ION's backing right now. One is a DeFi lending project, and you can see if you go to the ION's website, you can see the press release on that. And another one is backing another project called Goldfish, which is a retail stable coin that's backed by the Treasury of ION, and it's available on exchanges and through swap programs and such. And it's a retail token, and it's priced at 1/1000th of an ounce. So it's like if gold's around 4,100 right now, so it's $4.10 to get a Goldfish token, and it's a great storage of wealth for people where they can put it in this and not have to worry about the fluctuations of buying power through fiat currency or the fluctuations of crypto. It goes way up and down. Every time a crypto winter comes, a lot of people run into the asset-backed stable coins, and that's what Goldfish is. But it's backed by the Treasury, the gold, the iron AU, and the gold in the ground eventually. And so that's a powerful project, and ION's earning off of that. There's other initiatives that are backing like development projects and stuff that are in the works that ION is doing with the Treasury. And if you want to purchase the Goldfish, you can go to goldfishgold.com, goldfishgold.com, and you're able to purchase there. Any wallet that takes Ethereum will take the Goldfish token. And there's also other entities out there. I found one that you can actually stake or deposit your Goldfish there, or your Pax gold, or your Tether gold coin, and actually earn a return on it. And if you type in "stake my gold" news, and you'll be able to find websites that you can take the Goldfish and where they call it staking there. It's like a certificate of deposit, and or you can your Pax gold or your Tether. So there's ways to be able to earn off of that storage of it. So it's a great storage of wealth and a way to generate income, and not have to pay for vault fees and stuff like that. So those are some of the initiatives that ION's backing, and it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars that ION's putting up to back these projects and through assets under management. And so ION has two ways that it generates this digital asset. One is by acquiring the asset, and the other is by taking assets under management and digitizing it, and then backing these projects, wrapping bonds around it, and all the banking stuff. So those are some exciting things to happen in the future. The technology it just got upgraded to Chainlink's latest and greatest stack, which Chainlink is kind of becoming the Microsoft in the crypto world. They're a great partner through Instructi that ION has, and it's just the leading edge of what's happening out there, especially in real world asset digitization. There's probably no better platform, in my opinion, than the Chainlink platform. And so I'm very, very excited about the future of ION. I'm excited about that Goldfish product. I kind of oversee it for ION. I keep an eye on them over there. And Girish, I just so you know that this whole thing is informational only. We're not giving you guys any type of investment advice or anything like that. We're just sharing, our passions and what and I love Maxtron, and I appreciate that, Girish, that you had me on here. And if you want to go learn more about ION Digital, go to iondigital.com. If you want to learn more about the Goldfish, goldfishgold.com. And I thank you for allowing me on your show.
Thank you, Doug. That was really awesome and really insightful for our audience. So I will just, I'm just going through all the questions, and I have been meeting a lot of gold mine owners and mine owners around the world, talking to me, reaching out to us, to Hugh, me, and they wanted to talk to you. But now you are live in front of them. So, they have mines in Brazil, in Africa, the owners are in Dubai. So, and even maybe the government. So you are doing it in USA and Canada, if I'm right? So
correct.
How would you think this might or this would go around the world? How would this be possible in Africa or Brazil or anywhere else, and how they can do it, or what they should look at, or what's your advice to the governments, to the mine owners, or to the policymakers, how they should approach to get this worldwide?
Yeah, so Ion internally, that like you said, for the Treasury that Ion's building, really concentrating on the United States and Canada mining operations are there. But
Yeah,
outside of that, there's gold everywhere, obviously.
yeah,
And so large corporations, governments, like you said, or entities that want to be able to leverage what they're doing and even help fund their operations as such. That with Ion does have a program for that, and it's basically licensing the technology. So
wow,
there's like a 3-step process to license the technology and then provide services to actually set it up with that the government or the corporation or the owner of those assets, those in-ground assets. And then that entity or that government can build their own treasury, kind of like Trump's doing with the digital treasury.
yes,
And other governments can do it using the IONS technology that's available
wonderful,
now. Like I said, what I'm talking about today is working now, and every
wow,
aspect of this business ION has done and went through the trials and tribulations to get it working and get it smooth. And then this year it's rolling it out worldwide. And so they can partner with Ion to license technology, and then let Ion can help, actually set it up and stuff.
amazing.
And then if they need help with management of the treasury and stuff, then could be a management agreement between Ion and the government or the entity to help manage its treasury and leverage it and generate income off of it.
Amazing. So everyone watching this and who wants to tokenize their mines, reach out to Doug. And yes, let's do it. I'm so excited, and I think a lot of doubts and queries, and you have given a great insight and a futuristic way forward with Ion and with all the people who are watching us. So thank you, Doug. This was an amazing time together. We have been literally looking for this time and this session from a very long time. We look forward
Hey, yeah,
to
and Chris, I'm really looking forward to your pitch fest next year in April out in
absolutely.
Dubai. I'm so
Absolutely.
excited. We're coming out there. We want to be there, and
Absolutely.
totally looking forward to that.
Absolutely. We would be happy to have you, Carlos, and every one of you. And Dubai is all about gold and, bullions and jewelries. So people will love your project, and we will line up a lot of gold mine owners and all these people around us. So yeah, that would be great to have you. Let us know, and that would be a great time. We are happy to have you here, and and we thank you from our Pitch Matter team and our team from Maxtron. Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you. And
Great to be
for
here.
for the audience, we have our next webinar with the IMU Gaming Studios. The CEO and co-founder Robert Strutin, he will join our webinar on 4th December, and you can scan and register yourself right now. And all the people who are registering right now, they might get a special reward in terms of maybe an airdrop or tokens, or maybe a free ticket. So please go and scan this and register now. And the next session would be how the gaming and esport industry is changing with the different use case in the adoption of tokenization models for liquidity and capital raise in the esport and gaming industry. So until next time, thank you so much. And thank you, Pitch Matter, Pitch Expo. We are going to come with amazing Web3 Arena execution projects and launches. We'll keep you updated. And we can play a quick token video or just scan and register. Thank you so much. Thank you, Doug. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. See you soon.